Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. We are still in the Nostos Hotel lobby. We've just transitioned from the day to the night, and we need to explore a little bit. We can mingle with the guests. I wonder if they're the same guests or if they are new ones. They are congregated in the book-lined lounge. Let's have a quick look, shall we? The only option we appear to have is to speak to the salt-addled Zayla, but I believe we've already talked to him. Yes, he's talking about the salt lions. Okay, let's go back to the lobby. Oh no, we have to request medical attention. I'm not sure if the level of our skin glowing actually matters, but yes, he throws a cloak around us and he removes the light from us. It did tell us to go to sleep at night. Let's try that. Go to sleep. It is night. Perhaps when you wake up, your homesickness will have abated. As you pull the red silk bedsheets over your head, your surroundings melt away, and it is as if you are back at your lodgings, where all things are simple. You are suffused with optimism for an abstract future, and are as content with the present as if you were basking in the warm light of a surface summer day. All is well. You awake sometime later. The light in the room is still red. You will see different visions on subsequent nights if you are in a receptive state of mind. Now, how do we get a receptive state of mind? Is that tied to the homesickness or the skin? But it is day once more, whatever that means on Nostos. So we're back here again. I believe we've done all of these options. Yeah, the colour illuminates from within your skin. Tiny oil painting of my house, yes. I will take another bottle of Greyfields though. Let's go downstairs. Yes, reminisce with the wistful dowager. We couldn't speak to this woman before because we hadn't had enough experience here. She is cradling a tinkling music box. When you enter, she turns her damp eyes to you. You're adrift too, croaks the wistful dowager. I can see it in your eyes. This place. It somehow makes one feel at home, yet acutely aware of how far away home really is. The older I get, the more certain I am that we start our lives where we are meant to be, then journey further and further from it, until... She sighs. Perhaps I should leave, resist the urge to dwell upon such feelings, but why pretend things are otherwise? The music box on her lap tinkles to a stop, and she turns away to wind it. Interesting. We've mingled with all the guests. We've spoke to the precocious maitre d'. I guess we need to look inside of his desk. But we have to step through the lintel. Here we go. Look inside the precocious maitre d's desk. It might contain something the enshrouded hotelier wishes to keep secret. You slide open the drawer of the precocious maitre d's desk. Concealed at the back is a file labelled Mr. Wines. Well worth reading. It would appear that Mr. Wines, the master of the bazaar who deals in drinks and entertainment, is attempting to break Mr. Spice's hold on London's honey trade. Mr. Wines will leverage all information to this end. Perhaps Mr. Wines is the personage whom the enshrouded hotelier was so keen to conceal its activities from. The file notes that Mr. Wines has an aide, Gervase, who moonlights as the bearded lady at Mrs. Plenty's carnival. I guess we need to retire to our room and sleep again? Here we go. That's a new picture right there. It is night. Perhaps when you wake up your homesickness will have abated. As you pull the red silk bedsheets over your head, you melt away, as if disappearing from existence altogether. Piece by piece you are reformed, regaining consciousness once more to find yourself not in your body, but possessed of only a face suspended above an unfamiliar land. The jungle below is bathed in orange light that can only be radiating from you. And amongst the trees you see people basking in your glow. They are seeking refuge from something, you realize. Sometime later you awake in your own body. The light is orange once more. Uh-oh. Your skin! You cannot take it anymore! My skin is so severe that we have to go and get that sorted. Oh god. You rip away a sleeve to reveal charred, hissing skin webbed with deep cracks. Orange light beams from the fissures, casting patterns on the black fabric of the walls. As you collapse upon the floor, the glowing projections coalesce into a disc that spans the entire ceiling, like a blazing sun. It grows so bright you have to close your eyes, but the light burns red through your eyelids and you lose consciousness. By the time you wake, your skin has recovered a little. Still, it would be wise to consult the precocious maitre d' about your condition. Oh my god. Let's request medical attention, shall we? We don't want that to happen again. Can we mingle with anyone else? I don't think there's anyone new here. These are the same things every time, right? Yes, just checking. Sometimes they might add new things between different stages. Step through the lentil again. I guess we just have to kind of keep travelling at night. Retire to your room. Go to sleep. It is night. Perhaps when you wake up your homesickness will have abated. What's my skin condition at? Not too distracting. I'm going to say I don't want to sleep and then wake up on fire. As you pull the bed sheets over your head, you melt away as if disappearing from existence altogether. Sometime later, you awake, lying on your front with your head raised, and your immense basalt paws half buried in the sand before you. Your twin is at your side. Together, you watch as a funerary procession makes its way towards a temple. A group of hooded creatures with clawed feet are led inside and do not emerge for centuries. You awake back in your own body. Your sheets are soaking wet. Now that has got to be the lions, the salt lions. Were they the prison for the masters? I assume clawed feet is the masters. But they did say they were the only people who could contain the masters. But okay, it's daytime again. A flood! You extricate yourself from the swathes of sodden fabric, only to discover that the floor is submerged beneath several inches of water. The thirsty bombazine wall shrouds pulsate as liquid gushes out from the stones beneath. We can peel away the thirsty bombazine shrouds. How can water be flowing from stone walls? Wet strips of thirsty bombazine fall to the floor as you rip them away, water splashing onto your face and lips. You cannot help but taste it. Salt! It's as if the black basalt stones are crying. There is a frantic knock at your door. It's the salt-addled Zayla. He ignores the water that gushes over his shoes when you let him in. "Throw the Sphinx stone overboard," he barks, "or it'll flood the hold and sink us." When you do no such thing, the panic drains from his face. A memory," he mutters, and splashes back to bed. Well, let's look around the room. Does it realise that it's... Nope. Still oily paintings. Well, I need to heal myself because apparently I'm about to burst into flames. Okay, so now it's just a case of checking out, I guess. We've talked to everyone and seen everything. There are no visions left to see. Still, you should ensure you have thoroughly explored the Nostos Hotel before leaving. I think we're done here. There is no bill, of course, but before he lets you go, the precocious maitre d' wraps the thirsty bombazine cloak around your shoulders one last time. "Some of our previous guests left before we could cure their burns," he says, with contrition. "A dreadful oversight on my part. I have heard of frightful things befalling those who leave their cosmogon burns untreated. He narrows his eyes as he removes the cloak. Why, your clothes are damp. I'm so dreadfully sorry. I thought we had fixed a leak in that room. The precocious maitre d' apologises profusely for your flooded room. Demand recompense. Your clothes are ruined. No, it was nothing. Your stay was free after all. Nevertheless, says the precocious maitre d', I cannot let you leave with wet clothes. He climbs down from his desk to fetch you a replacement coat, not realising that he has left a document in full view. It is only a bill for some repairs, but it reveals that the Nostos Hotel is owned by none other than Mr. Spices, the master of the bazaar who controls the honey trade. When the precocious maitre d' returns with the coat, he catches sight of the document. Blushing, he hastily covers it up. He glances up at you fearfully, looking suddenly very young. Okay, so this is some weird battle between Mr. Wines and Mr. Spices about the honey trade? Interesting. The hotelier will wish to hear about your stay, stammers the precocious maitre d', still shaken by his momentary carelessness. Please return to the arena at your earliest convenience. When people forget, he hesitates, the hotelier has been known to blame me. Okay, leave through the front door. The way out to the Nostos Hotel is through its gardens. As you walk away from the building, the Sphinx Stone's influence over your state of mind diminishes. The salt-addled Zayla falls in step beside you as you walk through the gardens. I have been waiting for you out here, he says with uncharacteristic lucidity. I wanted to ask for your help and thought being away from the Sphinx Stone walls might clear my head. He draws a ragged breath. We must close the Nostos forever. Okay, so why does he want to close the hotel, and why does he need my help? People will dream their lives away here if we do nothing, says the salt-addled Zayla. Just look at me. I helped build the Nostos. I didn't know what I was doing, but it doesn't matter. If people lose themselves here, it's my fault. I wish I could do more, but if I attract any more attention to myself, the hotelier will know I'm interfering, and then he trails off. You'll help, won't you? I felt something in you, a strength, a conscience. That night your room flooded. He hesitates. Perhaps I'm wrong. My faculties aren't what they were. Okay, so say I did agree with this. How does he propose that we go about closing the Nostos Hotel? The enshrouded hotelier will not be pleased. The salt-addled Zayla lowers his voice. The Sphinx Stone I shipped to London is for the bazaar. My contact said it was feasting on the memories. Years ago, I was paid to let some stone go unaccounted for. I plan to retire on the money. But, well, that's another story. Sighs. The important thing is that I followed the trail and it led me to the hotelier. It's going behind the bazaar's back. A dangerous game. You need to find out why and expose it. I don't know to whom. I don't know who might have the power to stop it. I'm guessing Mr. Wines. Before you leave, says the salt-addled Zayla, there's something I wish to be rid of. I'm sure you can guess what it is. He holds a crumpled ball of thirsty bombazine out towards you. Okay, it cannot harm you. Right, so it's like some Sphinx Stone wrapped in bombazine. How nice. I stole it from one of my own shipments, says the salt-addled Zayla as you take the bundle. Keep it in that pouch. It's too strong otherwise. You glance inside. The black Sphinx Stone has a patina, as if it has been handled frequently. I really did come to the Nostos to sabotage the place, he says, but the stone's hold on me is too great. I can't stay in a building made of the stuff, and I can't be trusted with a pouch of it. Do what you will with it. It could be useful. But please, take it away from me. Okay, well I guess now we leave. Leave the Nostos at last. You have been here long enough. The salt-addled sailor lingers in the garden as you open the gate. Perhaps he will leave. Perhaps the allure of the Nostos is such that only its destruction will free him. So the story continues at the Arena Honey Den, anywhere in London. The obsequious attendant glides down from the pulpit to greet you once more. "I hope you enjoyed your stay at our sister establishment," she says smoothly. "The hotelier is expecting your report. I will show you up at once." She rings the bell before pulling the parabola linen curtain aside, revealing the stairs to the belfry. So let's reunite with Mr. Spices, yes. We know who he is now. You know the enshrouded hotelier's real identity. You'll be unable to leave for a short while, oh no. Once again, you climb the spiral staircase to Mr. Spice's room in the belfry. It opens the door as soon as you knock, evidently eager to hear about your stay at the Nostos Hotel. Mr. Spice's is one of the masters of the bazaar and holds London's honey trade in its claws. Its influence runs deep. The last time you spoke with it, you merely wished to know where its customers had acquired sunburn, but you have since learned the answer to that question, and much else besides. Still, Mr. Spice's motivations remain a mystery. "Well," Mr. Spices snaps, "how was your stay?" I reckon we should just go straight in there for a confrontation of what the hell are you doing. The Nostos is built from sphinx stone, stolen from shipments meant for the bazaar. Mr. Spices lashes a gloved claw around your wrist with such force that the shroud falls away from its face. Its bulbous eyes strain at their hairy sockets, and the frills of flesh around its nostrils quiver as it bares its needly teeth. "How did you know?" it hisses, with breath that smells like rotting fruit. "Who told you?" Quivering with rage, fear, or both, it rearranges its robes to conceal itself once more. Daring has increased to 9. We are now fearless. "You are a fool," snaps Mr. Spices, regaining its composure. "What did you expect would happen? I cannot let you leave. You shall be forgotten." Despite its threat, Mr. Spices is distressed and vulnerable to manipulation. You have a chance to discover why it risked the bazaar's displeasure to build the Nostos Hotel. So we wish to help him. We can claim we wish to help him. Mr. Spices might let you live if it believes your interests are aligned with its own. Or we can lie. Should anything happen to us, Mr. Wines will be informed. Yeah, let's go with that, because I don't like the idea of the Nostos Hotel. It is a lie, but Mr. Spices need not know that. "How dare you!" hisses Mr. Spices. "You cannot comprehend how high the stakes are. What would happen if the balance of power was upset at a time like this? If Wines got its claws into dreams more than it has already? Catastrophe!" Mr. Spices composes itself. "No matter. I'll have erased any trace of Sphinx Stone supply lines by the time Wines gets wind of this. It'll have no proof. I get out of here before I change my mind." It's impossible to tell whether it's bluffing. Mr. Wines holds the belfry door open for you to make your exit. There is only one thing you can do that might convince it to explain why it has stolen Sphinx Stone from the bazaar. A Sphinx Stone building can enthrall its inhabitants. The bazaar feasts upon the stuff. What effects could it have on a master? So let's reveal. The Sphinx Stone, it's our only leverage. You pull the thirsty bombazine pouch from your pocket and open it just wide enough for a plane of smooth black stone to appear. Mr. Spices recoils, tripping on the carpet. "The second city!" it rasps from the floor. Mr. Spices is incapacitated, so you draw the pouch closed. but it scrambles across the floor and wraps a claw around your ankle.
Wait,
It coughs.
let me hold it. Just for a moment.
Mr. Spices wheezes from the floor, stretching a claw towards the Sphinx stone in its thirsty bombazine pouch. Something, perhaps the effect of the Sphinx stone, or the reminder of the second city, is rendering Mr. Spices powerless. You could exploit this state of affairs. Oh no, there's one down here that's only open for players who've played the exceptional story, The Attendants. I have never played that exceptional story. Damn! One of these days I'm going to go back and play all the exceptional stories. Okay, so let's ask why the bazaar is using Sphinx stone. You heard it was feasting on memories.
Are so stupid,
Spits Mr. Spices.
If I knew what the bazaar used it for, I wouldn't need to do any of this. But the bazaar remembers how the Sphinx stone affects it, where it would rather be than where it is now. I don't know those things, but I must learn if I am to understand the bazaar. Testing the stone on creatures like you is the first step. First of many. But I will succeed. I control the honey trade. I understand the weaknesses that drive creatures to seek out oblivion.
Bulbous eyes stare hungrily at the Sphinx stone. Let's ask why Mr. Spices really built the Nostos. Stealing Sphinx stone is too dangerous for money to have been the only motive.
How else am I to learn about Sphinx stone's effects? I need reports. Can't go near it myself. It's disgusting. It's...
Mr. Spices stops to wipe away a string of drool as it gazes at the pouch in your hands. Mr. Spices draws a rattling breath.
The bazaar keeps me down here.
Waves a claw at the belfry window and the cavern beyond.
I want to go home. If I understood the bazaar's reveries, I could be able to manipulate it. Get out. Up. Leave. The other masters behind.
Let's ask why mentions of the second city upset it so. Does it have anything to do with the hooded creatures you saw being shut inside the temple in your final vision?
How dare you?
Rasps Mr. Spices, though it lacks the will to punish the transgression.
You can't imagine it. Tricked by creatures as low as you, led into a trap, imprisoned for eons. The furthest I have ever been from home, forced to sacrifice.
The words catch in its throat.
The salt lions are monuments to that treachery, that torture. Knowing that they are being torn apart is one of the few things that brings me joy. Using their bodies to aid my escape feels like revenge.
Okay, well that's enough questions. It's time to give Mr. Spices the Sphinx stone it desires. With immense effort, Mr. Spices hauls itself onto the chase, its robes in disarray.
Bring it here, bring it here, bring it here, bring it here,
it chitters, reaching trembling claws towards the pouch in your hands. Mr. Spices is sprawled upon the chase. It gnashes its needly teeth and holds its claws out to receive the Sphinx stone. So we have two choices. We can either give the Sphinx stone with the pouch. Sphinx stone's effects will be gentler, or we can just remove the Sphinx stone from its pouch. There will be nothing to insulate Mr. Spices from its effects. I don't think I'm a monster. I think I'll give it to him inside of the pouch. Mr. Spices runs a distressingly long tongue across its bristling teeth as you approach with the bombazine-wrapped Sphinx stone in hand. Before you can offer the pouch to Mr. Spices upon your open palm, it grabs your hand, jerks your arm towards its mouth, and, not caring that your fingers are still wrapped around it, clamps its jaws shut upon the Sphinx stone. Pain tears along your arm like a lighted fuse. You struggle to wrench your hand from Mr. Spice's mouth, but the creature bites even harder, until the pain reaches your heart, and all is darkness. You soar through the high wilderness, a real sun warming your wings. Below, dunes of cloud beckon. Above, old galaxies embroider the marbled sky. You relish every sensation. A steel door materializes before you. Oh, I want to keep flying. You wish to be nowhere but here. The steel door turns to vapor as you swoop away and becomes one with the clouds. Perhaps there were answers behind it, but you have no question. You luxuriate in every rapturous beat of your wings, every caress of the solar winds upon your face. Your body is free, and your mind. Yes, your mind is free to wander where it wishes, for there is nothing to cause you anguish. No train of thought ends in darkness. Surely it never will. You are home. You awake to find yourself sprawled upon the belfry carpet, a garland of puncture wounds on your hand. Mr. Spices is curled up on its chase, chewing mindlessly on the bombazine pouch. Will not be able to retrieve the Sphinx Stone. It is time for you to leave, though you could take a detour to Mrs. Plenty's carnival. Gervais, Mr. Wines' aide, would be most interested to learn who's been siphoning off the bizarre supply of Sphinx Stone. Okay, let's pay a visit. It'll be interesting to see if he is aware of Mr. Spice's activities. You might even sow discord between the masters. You hear discordant music from the carnival attractions long before you see them. Gervais is still dressed as the bearded lady when you encounter him beside the coconut shy. At the mere mention of the bazaar, he gathers up his crinoline and hurries you into a tent. Inform Gervais that Mr. Spices has been stealing Sphinx Stone. This will give Mr. Wines an advantage in the dispute with Mr. Spices. Gervais's cold-rimmed eyes widen as you explain how Mr. Spices siphoned off Sphinx Stone meant for the bazaar. He drops his parasol when you describe the Nostos Hotel. A master's going after Sphinx Stone, he says with awe. It's brilliant. Who would suspect? Still, he continues, taking off his wig and scratching his head. Can't say I'm looking forward to telling Wines about it. The mere mention of the second city and, well, you know what the masters are like. Anyway, my problem, not yours. Take these for your trouble. He gives you some carnival tickets. Oh, thanks. That was really worth the time. Okay, Epilogue Homecoming. You take a detour past the Nostos Hotel, but where it once stood, there is only black rubble. Clearly, Mr. Wines has used your tip to strike a blow at Mr. Spices. In the street, hooded workers load the broken Sphinx Stone into carts. Special constables loiter nearby, ready to make sure that when the carts leave, they are not followed. I mean, I would eavesdrop on the workers, but I'm pretty sure they're going to the bazaar. Let's examine the carts of rubble, what remains of the hotel. You've never encountered such volumes of uninsulated Sphinx Stone. It may have unexpected effects. Let's find out. As you approach a cart, a wave of nostalgia knocks you to your knees. You try to stand, but find yourself without form, suspended in darkness. Moments turn to hours, turn to epochs, and you lose all sense of who you once were. You awake, sprawled beside the cart. Your hands are covered in orange burns, and your cheeks are warm. Perhaps your earlier stay left you particularly susceptible to Sphinx Stone's effects, or perhaps the hotel is protesting its destruction. As you haul yourself to your feet, you see a piece of fabric glistening in the rubble. Arabone and linen. Oh dear. You have remained too long within Sphinx Stone walls. Why do I get a feeling at some point in the future that's going to bite me? And I think that is the end of the exceptional story. I'm just going to quickly get my payment. And I'm apparently in the carnival and it's all broken. Let's just go back to my lodgings. So, that is the end of the exceptional story. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. I enjoyed it very much. We got to see a little bit of the infighting between the masters. and a little bit of an expanded story on why Sphinx Stone is needed in the Fallen London universe. Increasingly more interesting because I played Sunless Seas and know about the Salt Lions and things. I think that's a really cool touch that everything's all tied together. So, like I said, thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.